Hello, everyone. Before diving into today's topic, we want to take a moment to thank you for your support. Every like, comment, and subscription truly makes a difference and helps this channel grow. If you enjoy our content and don't want to miss future videos, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive all notifications. Have you ever wondered how big the universe really is? I'm not talking about big in the general sense of the word, like when we say something is vast. I mean a magnitude that escapes comprehension, that goes beyond the limits of human imagination. Something so boundless that even trying to picture it in your mind creates a sense of vertigo. When you stop to look at the night sky, in silence, far from the city lights, with your gaze fixed among the stars, at some point that question inevitably arises. How far does all this extend? Where does the universe end? Does it have a boundary? Or does it go on forever, like a never-ending line, like an ocean with no shore? These questions weren't born with modern science. They have always existed, since the moment humans first looked up at the sky, searching for order in the chaos, an explanation for the mystery. For centuries we imagined that everything revolved around us, that Earth was the center of the universe, the measure of all things. Then we discovered it was the sun that held that central place. But even that truth soon collapsed. It was just a small piece in a much larger mosaic. From there, a long journey began, a voyage of discoveries and insights, mistakes and revolutions. In ancient times, it was thought the sky was a crystalline sphere, and that the stars were fixed upon it like gems set in a grand jewel. Greek philosophers spoke of celestial spheres rotating in perfect, harmonious order. Yet even back then, some sensed something different. Aristarchus of Samos, for example, suggested that the sun, not the earth, was at the center of the universe, and that the stars could be other suns, incredibly far away, a visionary idea ignored for centuries. Then came Galileo. And with his telescope, for the first time, humanity saw what the naked eye could never grasp. Spots on the sun, mountains on the moon, and most importantly, the Milky Way, revealed not as a faint milky band, but as an immense stretch of stars. That vision changed everything. We were no longer the center, and we were no longer alone. But even that revolution was only the beginning. For a long time, we still believed the universe was limited to our galaxy, the Milky Way. A huge stellar system, of course, but still confined. It wasn't until the early 20th century that we began to suspect otherwise. Those strange fuzzy patches in the sky, the nebulae, became central to one of the most important debates in the history of astronomy. The Great Debate. Two astronomers, Harlow Shapley and Heber Curtis, clashed with opposing views. Shapley believed everything was contained within the Milky Way. Curtis hypothesized that those nebulae were external galaxies, islands of stars like our own. Both were right and wrong. But it was Edwin Hubble who settled the matter. Studying some of those nebulae with a much more powerful telescope, Hubble identified within them variable stars called Cepheids and managed to calculate their distance. The result was shocking. Those galaxies were too far to belong to the Milky Way. They were island universes, each with billions of stars. Suddenly the universe expanded. And it didn't stop there. Hubble also observed a strange phenomenon. The light from distant galaxies was shifting toward the red, a shift known as redshift. This meant they were moving away. All of them. And the farther they were, the faster they seemed to flee. It was as if space itself were expanding. Thus was born the revolutionary idea. The universe is not static, but constantly expanding. It's not the galaxies moving through space. It's space itself that is stretching. Like dots drawn on a balloon as it inflates, the galaxies drift apart because the fabric of the universe is expanding. And if it's expanding today, it means it was more compact in the past. Rewinding time leads to a point of infinite density and temperature, the Big Bang. Not an explosion in space, but the expansion of space itself. From there, everything was born: space, time, energy, matter. But the question remains, how big is the universe today? We can say that the observable universe has a diameter of about 93 billion light-years. But be careful. This doesn't mean the universe is that age. It means that, accounting for the expansion of space over the time it took light to travel, the farthest regions we can see today lie at that distance. Still, there could be much more. The universe might extend far beyond what we can see. It doesn't end with our visibility. It ends with our ability to see. because the light from more distant regions hasn't yet had time to reach us, and maybe never will. It's like being on an island surrounded by fog. We can only see what's nearby, but beyond that, there might be an entire invisible continent. The universe could be hundreds, thousands of times larger, or infinite, or even closed upon itself, curved like the surface of a sphere, and maybe we'll never know. But even just what we can observe is enough to take our breath away. Every bright spot in a deep space photo is a galaxy, an entire star system with planets, gas, dust, perhaps even life forms. Some galaxies hold hundreds of billions of stars, others just a few million. Some are gigantic, others are dwarfs. Some collide and merge, twisting into spirals. The universe is constantly changing, alive, dynamic, in eternal transformation. And we are just a grain of dust in this cosmic ocean. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is not alone. It's part of a small group called the Local Group, made up of about 30 galaxies, including Andromeda, the Magellanic Clouds, the Triangulum Galaxy. Beyond the group, we find galaxy clusters, gigantic structures held together by gravity. Some, like the Virgo cluster or the Coma cluster, contain thousands of galaxies. And beyond those are superclusters, vast regions of space that intertwine into a cosmic web, like a spider's web. Filaments of galaxies connected by invisible bridges, separated by immense voids. This web is called the cosmic web, and it's one of the most fascinating discoveries of modern cosmology. Every node, every filament, every void tells a story of gravity, of dark energy, of visible and invisible matter. And the farther we look, the further back in time we go. Light travels slowly, at least compared to the immensity of the universe. When we observe a distant galaxy, we see it as it was billions of years ago, not as it is now. Some of them may no longer exist, but their light still reaches us, like a postcard sent from a distant past. The universe is a living archive, a luminous chronicle of its history. In that ancient light, we find the first galaxies, the first heavy chemical elements, the first supernovae, the first stars. It's like watching the infancy of the cosmos. With each new discovery, we rewrite the story of the universe. Our instruments are becoming more and more powerful. Space telescopes like Hubble and James Webb allow us to see farther and farther, deeper into time. And not just with light, today we also observe the cosmos using radio waves, X-rays, gravitational waves, neutrinos. We explore the universe with senses we couldn't even imagine a century ago. Yet with every answer we find, new questions arise. And in the end, maybe that's the true magic of the universe. Never having an end, but being a continuous quest, an endless journey through space, time, and mystery.